Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to Community Chats. My name is Anthony Siracusa, the Director of Community Engagement at the University of Mississippi, and I am joined, as I always am, by my two distinguished colleagues, Dr. Jody Holland and Aaron Picer-Oath, for these regular conversations with people in the Lafayette Oxford University community working hard to make a difference and move the needle on challenging issues. Would you like to be interviewed for Community Chats, or do you know someone that should? Please reach out to us, engaged@oldmiss.edu, or send us a direct message on Facebook. This initiative is sponsored by our friends at the Lafayette Oxford Foundation for Tomorrow, LOFT, and I want to encourage you all to go check out the Night for Nonprofit videos, which are posted on their website. Fantastic opportunity to get to know some of our nonprofit leaders in the community. Without further ado, I am so delighted today that we have here with us Allen Kurr from the Oxford Relief Fund. We cannot wait to hear about that and some of the other important work that he is doing here in the community. And Allen, we're just so delighted to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Anthony, and I appreciate you, Jody, and Aaron getting the chance to spend time with me today, and happy to be a part of the program again. Really appreciate what your efforts are in terms of getting the community resources and opportunities, that awareness on campus. And so props to you and your team. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And this time is about you and getting to know you and the work you're doing. So let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up in the Lafayette Oxford community. Where'd you grow up and what led you here?
Sure. Thanks, Anthony. Well, again, my name's Allen Kurr. I'm the Vice President of the Oxford-Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. And I have been in the Lafayette community for 20 years now. Came here in 2001 with my family. I'm a Mississippi born and raised young lad. I was up in the Memphis area in an early part of my life, but for the vast majority of my life, I've been here in Mississippi. And so we moved around a lot whenever I was growing up, but we settled here when I was in the 4th grade. And in 2001, my dad had a position with Baptist Hospital here in Oxford. And my mother was a small business owner and of course, mom and full-time wife. And so we settled here. I went to Oxford High School, graduated in 2010, moved on to the University of Mississippi and received a degree in public policy leadership from the University of Mississippi and their Trent Lott Leadership Institute program in 2014. In fact, Jody was one of my professors at the time. And so great getting a chance to reconnect with him. And then, of course, after college, I was looking for a job, and I had a background, of course, in public policy leadership. My mother had started a frozen food company called No Time to Cook, and we'll go into that, I'm sure, here in a moment. But having that small business and entrepreneurship background combined with an internship with the Mississippi Development Authority in between my sophomore and junior year of college, and was really important. And so it gave me the opportunity to start at the Chamber of Commerce right out of school and get engaged in economic development 6 years ago.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Allen, it's good to reconnect and work on many projects with you. We're here today because we're going to talk about the Oxford Relief Fund. But I want to, before we get into that and get in that program that you're creating and developing and working together with, you talked a little bit about how you got into position at the EDF and Chamber. What's going on there? What's your purpose there? I mean, what's going on with the EDF?
Sure. So the Economic Development Foundation, for those of you guys who don't know in your audience, was formed in 1991. We are actually housed within the Chamber of Commerce building, which is directly across the street from Sorority Row at the corner of Sorority Row and Jackson Avenue here in Oxford. And so there's two separate organizations. There's the Chamber of Commerce. We're actually celebrating our 80th anniversary this year. And then in 1991, this community saw an opportunity to attract industry into the community and to attract people into the community. So in 1991, they formed the Economic Development Foundation. So where the Chamber of Commerce might be your short-term tactical business networking approach, the Economic Development Foundation is looking at the economy 20, 30, 40 years into the future. So we're looking at policy, we're looking at recruiting industry into the community, but most importantly, creating a holistic and sustainable economy that is inclusive of everybody. So that's entrepreneurs, startups, small business owners, of course, industry, our technology sector, and then research-based projects at the university that could spin off into companies in the community. And so we focus on a lot of those areas. I will say this, we are very different from a traditional economic development organization in that we do industrial recruitment. However, that is a smaller portion of what we do in our office. We truly do focus on workforce development. We focus on entrepreneurship. We focus on small business support and making sure that, like I said before, the economy is inclusive of everybody. And so we follow specific metrics to make sure that the economy itself is growing, not just a few industries in town.
Wow, great. Thank you so much for that overview, Alan. So tell us a little bit specifically about the Oxford Relief Fund. What is it and what is its purpose?
Sure. So as everybody probably knows, the pandemic and COVID-19 really impacted the economy pretty in a negative way. We'll just put it that way, straight up. And so we had small businesses that were struggling. Of course, we had high unemployment. And while the economists that we're talking to around the country think that there's going to be a sharp V in terms of the economy recovering, there is this short-term gap here where businesses are going to struggle. And so we see these amazing businesses that have been in Oxford for years who are unfortunately facing those dire circumstances that come with the pandemic. And so we decided to create the Oxford Relief Fund. This was a partnership between the Economic Development Foundation, the Yaknatafa Arts Council, as well as LOFT, which Jody Holland is a part of, running as executive director there. And we decided that we wanted to do something about it. We wanted to provide a bridge grant to these local small businesses that were really in need. So we identified businesses that were under 50 employees, under $2.5 million in revenue, who didn't have any tax liens, who didn't have any open judgments or going into bankruptcy, but those who had an opportunity and a need for sustainable coaching, mentorship, and of course, funds. And so in partnership with the Create Foundation out of Tupelo, they're our physical agent for this project. We're going to be going out into the community and raising money, hopefully business to business or individuals to business, to be able to keep these businesses afloat. And so, for example, if you go to somebody who's in need and you write them a check, that can be very helpful to them. But sometimes it needs to come through that third party that can really administer, make sure that we screen the applications as they come in, and then get those monies out to the people who are really in need. And so that's what the Oxford Relief Fund is all about. And we're looking forward to launching that here in late September.
That's fantastic, Alan. And you kind of alluded to this with Loft and some of your other partners, but talk a little bit about the process of bringing folks together around this. You know, it probably takes a big team to do this work. So speak to us a little bit about those players on the team.
Sure, absolutely. Well, like I mentioned, this is a partnership between our office, the Yaknatafa Arts Council, and Loft. We felt like those were the individuals that could really come together from a leadership perspective and who had the networks to be able to drive donations and also to be able to connect directly with the businesses that were in need and the entrepreneurs that were in need. Other people who have joined the team are local small business owners, the Small Business Development Center on campus, which is a phenomenal resource for small businesses and entrepreneurs who need that resource. And then, of course, with the university, with the help of the university, as well as the students at the university, to kind of be those boots on the ground, those people who are willing to make the phone calls, the people who are willing to look at the review that application process with us to make sure that the businesses who are really in need get the money that they need. And so we understand that, and by the way, I didn't mention this before, the grants that we're offering are up to $2,000. Our goal for the first round is $50,000 that we'd like to raise. We hope to blow right past that. And if we can get to that point, that's 25 businesses that will be able to get a little bit of seed money to help them make payroll, help them make inventory, help them pay for those expenses that are really necessary during this pandemic. And then on the back end, we can help them through that additional mentorship and connection piece that is so critical for a business in any stage, whether there's a pandemic or not. And so anyway, we've brought a great team together. We have a great steering committee that is working tirelessly. We're meeting on a weekly basis to get this thing done. We've been meeting since the middle of the summer. And like I said, this team is only going to expand with those the support networks that we're generating here in late September.
That's great. Well, Alan, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the script that we talked about on here. But look, if I'm a small business owner and I'm looking to think about getting involved with this and I want to apply for a grant, tell me how we do this. What do I do?
Sure. Sure. So great partnership with Loft. We are going to be promoting this on Facebook. You can see it as the Oxford Relief Fund. You'll see that very soon. We are going to be sending this out through our Economic Development Foundation networks, through our chamber networks, through the Create Foundation, of course, through the Napa Arts Council as well. And so whenever you see that, you will go to a landing page where you'll be given a little bit of information about the fund, the requirements that are associated with the fund, as well as 2 different links. One to a Survey Monkey, where you can actually input your business information and personal information to apply for the to apply for the grant, as well as a link to be able to donate, which will actually run through the Loft website itself. And so this is totally tax-free. This is a tax deduction that you can take with your donation, and of course, it goes to the businesses that are really in need.
Great. Yeah, that will go live. Just let people know that it'll be on loftms.org, and we'll have Oxford Relief Fund set up. So it'll be there. It should be easy and seamless. So good work.
That's right.
So, Alan, this is a phenomenal program that's meeting a very tangible need in our community. Can you talk a little bit about what are the challenges in doing this kind of work or pulling something like this and getting it off the ground?
Sure. You know, I think a lot of us are in the fundraising game. When you're in a nonprofit, you know that fundraising is a critical piece. Whenever it comes to organizing the application side and connecting directly with the businesses in need, that becomes a little bit more challenging because you need to make sure that they are aware of what the program is, this is not a loan program, this is truly a grant program, that they understand that this is not a state or federal program or even a local program. This is not through the Economic Development Foundation. This is a partnership between a lot of individuals and organizations in town. And so to be able to clarify that with them, and then of course outreach to them and making sure that they're aware, the application process, if you're a very detailed person, will only take you maybe 30 to 45 minutes to fill out. But I think for a $2,000 grant, that's pretty fair. And so I would definitely say that the organizing piece and the connecting piece to the businesses that are in need is probably the most challenging part.
Alan, what have been some of the more gratifying elements of this work? I mean, you're so deeply embedded in economic development more broadly. That long-term vision is so crucial, but then also responding in this moment to the acute needs that entrepreneurs and businesses are facing. What are some of the rewards that you've derived from doing this work?
Sure. Well, let me speak to the community rewards first, and then I'll go into the kind of the personal rewards and our organizational rewards. From the community perspective, whenever you approach economic development from a holistic standpoint, like I mentioned before, it creates equity in the economy and in the community. And so we like to use the analogy of tropical fish. And so what I mean by that is a lot of organizations will go out and chase those whale projects, so the large manufacturing projects. And let me tell you something, we do that too, and we've been very successful in that. We've brought in Winchester to the community, SMW Manufacturing, Wilson Art. Of course, we've grown some of our technology companies here as well. But the real way in which you can grow an economy is really from the bottom side, the inside out. And so if that's whale chasing, the other side of that would be tropical fish. Okay. And so what we're trying to do is to build a reef and to create resources locally that are attractive to young people, to entrepreneurs, of course, to retirees. Retirees offer tremendous benefits when it comes to mentorship and disposable income and things that they bring into the community as well. But you create an environment and an ecosystem that is attractive to everybody. And from there, you will be able to attract young, vibrant firms, young and vibrant businesses and entrepreneurs. And eventually, if you support them the right way, they could grow themselves into large whale projects themselves. And so we've seen that through the expansions of FNC with the development of Next Gear Solutions, what's going on at M-Trade in the technology sector there. And of course, even Winchester, whenever we attracted them in, the job count wasn't 1,500 where they're at now. It was in the 100 range, right? And so then they were able to expand over the years because of the support that they've seen in this community. So that's the community aspect. That ends up leading to broader population, a better tax base, a broader tax base. You talk about a per capita income that can rise, and plus employment and opportunities for employment will rise. So those are the community benefits that come from the organization. On a personal level, the rewarding aspect for me is I get to meet with brilliant innovators and brilliant entrepreneurs all the time and get a chance to play a very small role in their success. and just assisting them and connecting them to the resources that they may need.
Alan, I've got a kind of two-part question here. Say there's a small business owner out there that's really not technologically savvy, and they don't get on here and they can't fill out this application. They've never written grants before. What can they do from the community perspective if they want to get involved in this and they need help? What can they do?
Sure. They can absolutely call the Chamber of Commerce office. That number is 662-234-4651. Again, 662-234-4651. And so that's one option, and we can get them the direct assistance they need to be able to fill out the application. We are happy to print this application off at the Chamber of Commerce and fill it out with them right here in a safe environment. And of course, the wonderful thing about this application is that it's also accessible by phone. And so if you go right onto your phone, you should be able to fill out that SurveyMonkey application and submit it without having to have any kind of a computer or necessarily an internet connection, as long as you have that cellular device. And so we have multiple ways in which you can fill out this application, but if you have any need of assistance, we can certainly help you there here in the Chamber of Commerce.
That's great. Second part of that is, if I'm not a business owner and I want to help contribute to this, what do I need to do?
Yeah, go to that website that we're talking about. You're going to see it promoted all over. The Oxford Relief Fund, you'll see it on Facebook. You'll see it on the Loft webpage. You'll see it on the Economic Development Foundation, the Chamber of Commerce websites. And just go there, click on through on the tab. It will lead you to a Loft donation box where you can fill in your information, whether it's credit card or if you would like to write a check to the organization. It'll go to the Create Foundation, but make sure you put in the memo line, Oxford Relief Fund, and then we'll be able to get that money out to them in need. And so if you have any way, or if you want to support this effort in any way, of course, you can reach out to me at the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Foundation, or go to that website.
Great, Alan. Well, we call this our 1 minute moment. So we're going to give you 1 minute to share any final message that you would like with our audience, with members of the Lafayette, Oxford, and University community.
Sure. I think my last things that I would say is just, if you are in need from a business perspective, we're here to help. We're here to get you connected, not only through the Oxford Relief Fund. This is a small portion of a much larger mission that we have. If you need mentorship, if you need connections to expertise, we're here to help you. If you have an idea, if you're a startup, if you don't know what to do next in your business, come to us and we can absolutely help walk you through that process. And then the last thing I would say is that we're in it together. This is going to be a short-time thing. I know it's an incredibly difficult moment in the nation's history and, of course, in the economy of Oxford, but we are strong. We will be steady, and we have the foundations in place to get through this. And so with the support of the Oxford Relief Fund and with the support through the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Foundation, we're going to be stronger together tomorrow.
Alan, what a phenomenal asset you are to our community and the Chamber. You have a long history, decades long, of contributing to a strong and vibrant economy where small businesses and entrepreneurs are supported. And that's clearly reflected now in this current initiative designed to meet the needs of folks, the deep needs in some cases that people are experiencing in this unprecedented moment. So on behalf of our community, I just want to say thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you to the Chamber as well for the ongoing commitment to building a strong and vibrant region. We're deeply grateful to you for that, and also for being on the show today and sharing this important work with our community.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic. And to all of our viewers and listeners out there, please get in touch with the Oxford Relief Fund if you'd like to make a contribution, or if you're a business or entrepreneur in need of some support. We'll be sure to place links in the comments section of this video on Facebook to the phone number if you need some support, in addition to places where you can make a donation or complete the application. So thanks to everybody for tuning in today. We hope folks are holding up all right. And we will see you next time on Community Chats. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay engaged.